Hello everyone, my name is Macy, and today I'm going to be presenting my carbon footprint project. I know this is going to be a little hard to see, so just follow along the best you can. So I have chosen to discuss waste footprint. So where does the carbon this activity releases come from? So the carbon waste releases comes from the energy required to manufacture these products. So this is like the process it takes to actually more of like the industrial processes. So to further explain, energy is needed to extract, transport, and process raw materials and to manufacture these products that we often imply in our lifestyles. So this kind of explains why it's important to always use reusable containers when possible, because a lot of energy and natural resources is required to make any sort of product. So how is it being released? So the carbon is being released into the environment because when our trash is disposed of in an incinerator, it releases carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide into the atmosphere. So this is kind of why we see the carbon pollution that we see whenever our waste products end up in a landfill versus like something that could be reused. And carbon is also released in many of the processes it takes to manufacture these things. Okay, what effect does this carbon have on our climate? So carbon dioxide is emitted from our waste whenever it decomposes. So whenever it's just in a landfill and it's decomposing, carbon is emitted. So, and carbon dioxide is a gas that has been shown to prevent heat from being able to escape our atmosphere. So that is why carbon is kind of being one of the contributors to the global warming we are seeing today. And waste products also release a gas called methane gas, and that also leads to things such as climate change and global warming. Okay, what effect does this carbon have on ecosystems, and which ecosystem is affected the most? So basically any ecosystem is going to be affected in situations of extreme like waste products, and that's what we're seeing today. So to begin, like aquatic ecosystems are probably seeing some of the most like suffering the most from our waste disposal systems, because a lot of our trash is ending up in oceans, and the sea life just kind of mistakes it for food or anything like that. So to further explain that, so there is a patch in the ocean, and it's called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And basically what it is, it's basically a giant collection of just litter, trash, anything like that, and it all ends up in that particular spot in the sea. And there's several of these patches throughout the sea, but this is like known as the biggest one. So this waste is very harmful to marine life because many of the animals mistake it for food when in reality it's actually harming them. So that's why aquatic ecosystems are probably suffering the most from waste disposal management. And why should we care about these effects, and how does this affect our daily lives? So we should care about these effects because, for one, the earth is gonna be something that future generations are going to have to deal with, and therefore it's directly affecting our future generations. And also, we need to consider things such as global warming and climate change. It's all contributing, our carbon emissions are all contributing to those things. And it could also affect wildlife, as I just discussed, and animals. And this could possibly result in extinction or anything like that, which is just never a good thing. And how much carbon is released each year from this activity in the U.S. versus worldwide. So 29% of U.S. greenhouse gas emissions result from the provision of goods produced within the United States. So 29% comes from just alone producing products that we are going to later dispose of. And so industry, which is basically things such as building and manufacturing products, is responsible for 21% of global greenhouse emissions. So that number is going to be worldwide. So it is a pretty significant number that is affecting our climate and global warming and all of these things. So okay, so what small steps can you do daily to reduce the amount of carbon released from this activity? So for starters, that would be reduce. And reduce would mean buying things that are only a necessity, which I know is one of the harder things to ask someone to do, because obviously we all have a certain lifestyle and think certain things are necessary to us, but this is basically just saying reevaluate like your everyday household items and consider if they're really necessary for you, because they could be harming the environment. And secondly, we can reuse. So that just means like anything like plastic bags, find a different use for them rather than just letting them end up in a landfill. And lastly, recycle. So anything that can be recycled, try to recycle it when possible. And if everyone applies these things, then the amount of carbon released from waste disposal will honestly be reduced quite a bit. Okay, so to discuss my personal carbon footprint results, so my total footprint was 47 tons of carbon per year. So just from traveling, I contributed 7 tons of CO2 per year. Just from home goods, anything like that, at home, like electricity usage, stuff like that, I released 14 tons of CO2 per year. Food, I contribute 9 tons of CO2 per year. Goods, I contribute 8 tons of CO2 per year. And services, I contribute 7 tons of CO2 per year. So, yeah, I found these results a little bit shocking. Okay, so plans to reduce my CO2 waste per year. So I was shocked to find that it really is the little things when it comes to being able to reduce CO2. So for instance, for one, reduce my trash, which I've already discussed, but this could mean like just buying things that are only a necessity. Carpool whenever possible. Eat a low carbon diet. So this includes things such as reducing meat intake and all of those good things. Recycling when possible. Turn off lights when possible. This is a simple thing and an easy way to reduce carbon emissions. And then reduce computer usage and print double-sided pages when possible. So just by doing these things, I don't have the exact numbers in this PowerPoint, but it did reduce my carbon footprint by quite a bit, and I found that it was really easy to do, considering most of these things are actually quite simple, like things that I had never thought of, like printing double-sided versus printing single sheets, which I do print quite a bit for school, so that's an easy way to reduce it. And there's my sources, so thank you guys for watching.